35 people are watching. Let's figure out where that is right now. I can't even find out where the chat's going to be. This is not going well. We have not had this issue in so long. I'm going to bet that this is a YouTube issue. It's the only thing that would make any sense right now. There we go. Live dashboard. I believe this is where we need to be. So I'm going to close this and pop out this chat. We're back. Let me grab this link and share it, and then we can get back in business. Back again. Thanks for bearing with us, guys. I'm going to tweet this back out in 1 second. All right. Link is out. And we're back. Yes, Eric Owen, this is the newest stream. Drop that back into Slack. Let's do it. Let's boogie. Okay, so we touched on how Vargas is preposterous. We touched on Domingo Herman. Yeah, Yankees bats are just unowned on FanDuel. They are my third favorite stack. Yeah. Like, how much, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like the Yankees here? Because this feels like an incredible spot.
Yeah, like an 8, 7, 8.
Right.
Like the park isn't the best. You know, you have a game in Cincinnati, you have a game in Coors, but outside of that, and I mentioned it to you during the break, during the technical issues. I don't get too bogged down in pitch type data because it's a whole long discussion that we've had in Slack.
Yeah.
But it is something that in a situation like Vargas, I don't mind looking at because he does have one good pitch. And like if you go back and you look at the Phillies, which was the start that he dominated recently, like the entire team full of righties had virtually no power against left-handed changeups over the last couple of years and high swinging strike percentages, and he went out and had a really good start. The Yankees are a different story. Since last year, Judge, 392 expected WOBA, 243 expected ISO against left-handed changeups. Hicks is at 360, 220, 341, 289 for Sanchez, 351, 273 for Encarnacion. Judge has a 37% swinging strike percentage, but Hicks is at 8.9%. Sanchez is at 18, Encarnacion 14. It's from a pitch type standpoint, it's a much tougher matchup for Vargas than his last outing was, and that's really concerning when you only have one pitch that gets any sort of quality results.
I really hate everything about Jason Vargas.
So do the Mets.
Apparently they don't.
No, they're apparently. I read an article that their like front office can't wait to get rid of him, and like after the altercation with the reporter, and then him kind of doubling down, like the Mets front office like apologized, and he's just like, nah.
I don't personally apologize. Any Mets bats you want to target Herman?
No, I mean, you mentioned Cano's really cheap. McNeil's cheap. Alonso's good. I'm also looking at FanDuel pricing right now, which is why I thought that the entire team was free. But yeah, I mean, just not a spot that I really want to get to all that much on a 14-game slate when you are facing a pitcher who I think is good in Herman.
I feel the same way. I'm going to go out of my way to prioritize Yankees bats here, particularly on FanDuel.
I don't think I'll have to go out of my way.
I'm just assuming that it's a really difficult crunch in some way.
Yeah, that's possible.
I mean, we can test it. I have everything here. Let me load up my FanDuel stuff. I already have it up and like I've entered it in. I added the Yankees as a 4-man stack. That's my only caveat on this. That's the only thing that I've done. So that's all we'll get. But if you do run the Yankees as a 4-man stack, I mean, I'm guessing these. So most popular pitcher combinations using my stuff: Kyle Gibson and Mike Clevinger. And if I'm getting to Clevinger with the Yankees, I'm not exactly upset about it.
Yeah, I mean, what it'll probably come down to for me is how he ends up looking in the stack tool on the website, because I use that to try and get to some under-owned stacks. So if we are projecting the Yankees for low ownership and a high chance of being the top scoring stack, I'll end up boosting them a little bit in Cruncher, and that'll help me get there.
They have to be, right?
I would think so, yeah.
If they're going to be the 19th most owned stack at 1.3% aggregate ownership, I'll bet my life that their chance of being the top stack is higher than that. Like, it just has to be. It would shock me to no end. I got 50% Gibson, 25% Clevenger. I assume you would get a lot of Sonny Gray in this scenario and not be upset about it. That's for sure.
Yeah. So looking at since 2017 against left-handed pitching, 262 ISO for Judge, 192 for LeMahieu. Obviously, he played a lot of that time in Colorado, but he also has changed his swing and is hitting more fly balls. So that kind of evens itself out. 287 for Sanchez, 280 for Torres, 217 for Encarnacion, 204 for Hicks. That's a lot of 200 plus ISOs in one lineup.
Yeah, I love it. Just give me the Yanks. All right, let's keep it moving since we lost some time. Braves and Phillies, 5.6 run implied total for the Braves, 4.9 for the Phils, 57% chance to win for Atlanta. Bryce Wilson going for the Braves, Nick Pivetta going for the Phillies. Wilson getting 14% ownership on Yahoo, where he's the flat minimum, but nothing else on FanDuel and DK. Nick Pivetta at 10% ownership on DK, nothing else anywhere else. So, do you have any interest in either pitcher here?
I think that on Yahoo, fine. He's not a bad pitcher. I don't think he's very good yet in the majors. I think that he certainly has the potential. He's, a top 100 prospect, but at $25 on Yahoo, certainly it's just like he's a better pitcher than Austin Pruitt. So I think that becomes, interesting. But at 7,300 on DraftKings or on FanDuel, where you only roster one pitcher, I'm less interested.
I don't expect to get to anything here. Grabbing Pivetta to target against the Braves scares the hell out of me. It just doesn't feel like that kind of slate. I feel like there's 15 Nick Pivettas today, and yeah. I just don't need the one that's going against one of the better offenses in the league that's also getting a little bit of love. Yeah,
that's where I'm at too. I mean, I love Pivetta as far as his upside and his stuff, but it's not a good matchup here. The Braves are just a team that doesn't strike out, have a ton of power. We've seen him kind of still be, hit or miss with his strikeout stuff. And if you didn't have a 4K pitcher that I was perfectly fine going to, I would be more interested. But I'm paying 50% more for Nick Pivetta against the Braves in a spot that is super risky also. Why wouldn't I just save the money?
I completely agree. Do you want to get to the Braves or to the Phillies?
I think that both sides are actually pretty appealing. The Braves, because Pivetta does have power issues, and we know that they have a lot of power in their lineup. They don't have a lot of strikeouts. The weather looks like it's going to be hot, and that'll be good. They have almost a 6 implied run total. So, the Braves, just from that standpoint, are appealing. And then the Phillies are inexpensive. Yeah. Bryce Wilson, again, he's put up pretty good numbers at AAA this year. Struck out 24%, only walked 4.8%, 3.94 FIP. But still, young, not proven starter. And you get really appealing pricing with Rhys Hoskins at 4,400 on DraftKings, Bryce Harper at 46, Real Muto at 32, Bruce at 43. It's just a pretty easy team in favorable hitting conditions to stack up and still be able to get, like a Sale plus Pruitt pairing or something like that.
Yeah, I think I'll end up on a little bit of Phillies. Nobody picking up any ownership. I'm down for some Bryce on Bryce crime, so give me Harper a lot as my favorite bat in this game. I don't have much else to say, though. Both of these teams are sort of in the middle of the pack for me. I should probably have more Atlanta. $4,100 price tag on Josh Donaldson looks pretty good.
Yes, it does.
That's all I've got here. Let's move on. Rangers and Angels. Perfect time for everybody to hit the like button now that we're here on the new video. Let's try to get the likes up on this one. Subscribe to the channel. That way you can get notifications when the stream dies and we pop back up. That's perfect reason to do it. 5.3 run implied total for the Rangers, 5.8 for the Angels, 55% chance to win for LA. Ariel Rado going for the Rangers, Griffin Canning going for the Angels, this time for real. neither pitcher getting any sort of ownership, and I can't imagine having either guy. Are you interested in Canning?
Mildly, but the park certainly doesn't do him any favors. There are strikeouts here,
Yeah.
and his strikeout percentage against lefties is actually higher than against righties so far. But I don't think I'll end up getting there. He's just a little more expensive than I would like. If he was like 7,300 or something, I would be pretty interested.
In our group DM on Slack, go watch the GIF that Strafford just posted and try not to laugh at it. I wasn't ready for it. I had no idea. I was just like, oh, wow, I can't believe the foot got over the top.
Amazing.
I thought he was just going to kick her. No. right into the crowd. Okay, back. Sorry, guys. That was just, I wasn't. When something really funny happens, you're just not ready for it. I don't expect to get to Canning with like volume or anything like that. He's there. And I'll probably end up with like 4% or something similar to the field. Rangers bats, 3rd in ownership right now on FanDuel, 11th on DK. Angels bats, 2nd on FanDuel, 6th on DK. Do you have a preference between Rangers and Angels?
Not really. I mean, I think that Canning's a better pitcher than Urado. I think Texas has more power throughout their lineup than the Angels do. I guess I lean towards the Angels because of how much I love Ohtani and obviously Trout. And then you get nice price tags on Upton and Calhoun. The issue is just you can only roster 3 of them outside of FanDuel. Yeah, I don't know. I think that both are in high upside spots. I think it's kind of splitting hairs between the two.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Clearly the Angels get carried a little bit by Trout, but yeah, I'm in to just have a bunch of this game. Angels are my number 4 stack right now. Gonna have some Trout, Ohtani for sure, Cole Calhoun, Justin Upton, who did not hit a home run for me last night, which is kind of a bummer. I just want to have a lot of this game. It's about as good as it gets. The park is fantastic. It's summertime. Just I'm targeting offense, and if the Rangers are going to be 11th in ownership on DraftKings, that's really appealing to me. Gallo at 5,500, and I know they're not easy to stack because of all the outfielders right at the top, but if there's runs here for the Rangers, I want to have a part of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. It's like I have respect for Canning, but
yeah,
it's also, with it being a 14-game slate, it's not like Texas is going to get tons of ownership. You don't have to get a lot to get to, above the field in one of the most favorable parks for power. And while the Rangers do have a lot of flawed hitters, you do have power with Chu, Calhoun, Mazara, Gallo, Cabrera from the left side, Odor when he's able to make contact. Same with Guzman. The one thing that they do have in this lineup is home run hitters.
They certainly do. Favorite bat in the entire game?
Funny.
Yeah, same. Keeping it moving. Ugh, I don't even want to talk about these stupid people and their stupid ruining of yesterday's slate. White Sox and Tigers, 4.3 run implied total for the Sox, 4.7 for the Tigers. Ross Detweiler, let's just make sure that I have this right. Ross Detweiler and Tyler Alexander going today?
Yep.
Okay. Neither guy getting any love. Tyler Alexander, I don't believe, is on Yahoo or FanDuel. Neither one of these guys is any good. In fact, go ahead.
Tyler Anderson might be okay, or Tyler Alexander might be okay.
Let's dig into it. Talk to me about Tyler Alexander because he looks like nothing but not great to me.
I mean, he was a 2nd-round pick in 2015. Fangraphs has him as the Tigers' number 4 prospect. He struck out 25.8% of hitters in 14 starts at AAA this year. Only walked 5.3%. FIP is really high.
What changed this year? Holy hell.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, obviously a more general discussion, I guess, but we talked about it a little bit on the deeper dive yesterday when we were talking about that guy pitching for Houston who had like no success in low A and then was suddenly striking out 35% of hitters in advanced levels. But for one, and Alex, he's right, strikeout rates stabilize quickly. And so if you're going to do nothing else, just believing in the most recent stuff is a perfectly fine way to go. But I'm always inclined when you see a jump like that in the minors, like to buy into it, because especially now there's so much data out there for teams to make pitchers better, for pitchers to on their own, go and figure stuff out and get better, that and it can be minor changes, just improving a pitch, changing your pitch mix, adding a little bit of velocity. Like you don't have to make massive changes to get a much different strikeout percentage. So I tend to really buy into jumps like this.
I honestly don't know what to think. He did not project as anything more than like a mid-rotation guy. 45 future value, just basically average pitches across the board. Potentially good command, which makes me more nervous about that strikeout rate, oddly enough. If it were the stuff and not the command, I would like it. But if he's just got good command, that translates differently to AAA than it does to AA.
Sure.
But 4 straight years of like 16 to 19% strikeout rate and then 26% so far this season is a really, really big jump. I mean, he went from a terrible strikeout pitcher to like a borderline elite one.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how much it matters for this slate since we do have the 4K Pruitt, but it seems like he's probably made some improvements over what he was doing. I'm Googling articles now trying to see if I can
changed
find
his arm slot, similar to Paxton a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Per Cantor 33, who is in here all the time and is rarely a problem. So I believe what he's saying. And by rarely a problem, I mean 100% never. Just be clear.
Fastball in the low 90s, pairs it with a decent slider, above average changeup, and very good command. His home run per fly ball is super high as well, so that leads to the higher ERA.
Yeah, did you see his BABIP this season? 380. No. He's got an xFIP of 444, a regular FIP of 527. I mean, this dude is giving up long ball upon long ball. Which
he doesn't pitch in the PCL either.
This is he's got a 6.23 ERA. Not like I'm not saying that like it matters, but man, that's going to be the first thing people see.
Yeah. I mean, the strikeout to walk ratio is fantastic.
Yeah.
87 to 18.
Yeah.
His last 6 starts, the ERA has come down to where it should be.
I'll tell you this much. Getting to face the White Sox in your debut is so much better than being an Astro facing the Rockies in Coors. Yeah, maybe I'm selling him short a little bit because obviously he never projected to be a strikeout pitcher before this. I think I'm fine if I get a couple pieces of him.
Yeah. Fangraphs mentioned him in their overview of Detroit's system heading into the season. Throws strikes, eats innings, and is a good bet to at least be a 6th starter type of depth arm.
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
I'm in a little bit now. It's certainly worth the risk. Like, if he's 5,700 and unowned, and that strikeout rate is real, you don't normally get a chance to roster guys with that sort of strikeout rate at that price tag.
Right. I'd be really interested if he wasn't at like a 50% markup over Pruitt. But still, there's going to be a lot. You stack a team and you just have the money and it doesn't matter. So
I can say this much. I'd rather have him than Nick Pivetta now.
So would I, yeah.
Nobody else is really getting... Well, Cal Quantrill's getting 17% ownership, so we might feel pretty good about Tyler Alexander by the time we're done here. Would you rather have Jacob Wagyu-Spec or Tyler Alexander?
Tyler Alexander.
Okay. All right. I'm in. I'm more in than I was when we started the show.
So a quote from Bobby Wilson, who caught him in AAA and is with the Tigers now. He attacks the zone. He's not scared of anything. He's not scared of one thing. He's going to attack hitters. Alexander, who throws from a deceptive arm slot, features a low 90s fastball, slider, and changeup. So that's the first article I've read that mentions the arm slot. So that is good. Confirms what someone said in chat.
Are you scared of anything?
I'm scared of absolutely nothing. Not one thing.
Heights, public speaking, snakes, spiders.
All the first three things you said, yeah.
Really? Okay. Who's not scared of anything? I'd like to meet that man. That man is not. That man has not taken enough risks in his life. Or, well, never mind. Topic for a different show. Certainly, we're not playing Ross Detweiler here.
No.
He actually does stink, right?
Oh, hang on though.
Uh-oh.
I just found another Tyler Alexander.
I was like, oh my God, we are spending more time on Tyler Alexander and Ross Detweiler than any show in this industry.
What'd you say?
I thought we were about to be spending way more time on Detweiler and Alexander than anybody ever.
The first 2 months were tough. I was finding a new arm slot and trying to make adjustments to the new balls. Because remember, AAA this year is using the same baseballs that the Major League uses,
right? Which
is to say they're using the juiced home run balls. Mm-hmm. I was finding a new arm slot and trying to make adjustments to the new balls that we're using, but our pitching coach worked with me a lot. We put in a lot of work and things just started to click. So that also could explain why his overall numbers are so bad, but his numbers recently are much better.
Yeah. I'm super intrigued. Look, based on everything that he had done previous to this season, if he was the number 4 prospect in that farm system, that was a terrible ranking. Like, he did not look like he had never done anything that said that he should be the 4th ranked anything. Now you're starting to see some of that promise potentially. So we shall see. White Sox and Tigers bats. White Sox right now on FanDuel are 8th in ownership. They are 4th on DraftKings. Tigers are 4th on FanDuel and 7th on DraftKings. It seems like people want to target the hitting here more so than Mr. Alexander. Are you planning on targeting the hitting?
I mean, I'm fine with that. I still think that Jimenez is too cheap. He has tons of power, obviously. Jose Abreu is a reasonable option. James McCann probably will be hitting cleanup.
We have a total on this game now, and totals are starting to creep out for other games. Baltimore Tampa total is 8.5. Detroit Chicago is 10.5.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So, I mean, the total certainly doesn't make you feel good about the pitching. No. And the bats are cheap enough where I have no issue getting there. But I do think that I'll get to a little bit more Alexander than the field.
Yeah, so do I. I expect to be underweight on both of these teams, though, from a hitting perspective now.
I think I'll probably get to more Tigers than White Sox.
I will definitely get to more Tigers than White Sox. That much I can agree with.
Specifically, Castellanos and Jones.
You could add Miguel Cabrera to that list for me, and I'll say the same thing.
Sure.
9 righties against the lefty Detweiler.
2,100 John Hicks.
That'll work. There's your cash catcher, probably. At least to start. See where you end up with salary. I don't have anything else here. Favorite bat in this entire game, Castellanos?
Castellanos.
Okay.
Jimenez or Castellanos.
Okay. You could talk me into Abreu.
Yeah.
But again, first base is really high replacement level.
Yep.
Heading to Coors, Rockies and Astros. I've got 6.6 runs for the Rockies and 7.4 for the Astros. 56% chance to win for Houston. Peter Lambert going for the Rockies. Wade Miley going for Houston. There's absolutely no way I'm rostering a pitcher here.
I didn't. What'd you say?
Are you rostering Lambert or Miley?
No. Certainly not getting to Lambert. And then Miley, just like if I had to roster one of the two, I'd go Miley, but not really necessary taking a pitcher in Coors on the slate.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and straight pass. Rockies are 5th on FanDuel, 2nd on DK in ownership. Astros are number 1 on both. They are number 1 in my rankings. There's no way that I don't have Astros today.
Nope, right there with you. They're not even that expensive outside of Springer and Bregman, and they obviously should be expensive. So
those guys should have those prices even if they're not in Coors.
Exactly. And then the rest of the team is just cheaper than they should be. So, yeah, I'm right there. I mean, Lambert's, obviously very small very short time in the majors. He's been better at getting righties out than lefties, but still not a high strikeout guy, and just getting absolutely destroyed by lefties so far. Houston, just a really good offense in a great park. There's no reason for me not to like them.
Yeah, it's just I don't care about the ownership. I'll be different somewhere else, whether that's the pitcher that's going with them or the stack that's attached. But they are very clearly the best option today. I don't know what would have to happen for that to change. They're just number one. What do you want to do with the Rockies, though? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll say if we're lucky, maybe Jordan Alvarez will get to play the field.
I think I already saw that he's out.
Oh, okay.
I could be making that up. I generally don't remember anything that I do in that first hour of my day. And yeah. I'm feeling like I read that between 6:15 and 7:15 a.m. Not exactly peak time for my brain. 30% ownership going to Trevor Story at 4,500 on DraftKings. So kudos to them for get that Story Altuve combo in this game for the lovely combo of 9,100. Sleep at the wheel. How bad does the DraftKings pricing team need this All-Star break?
Yeah. And I mean, that's Story's price is so bad that we're just not even going to make fun of Arenado's 5,300.
Yeah.
Like, I know Miley's been better, but for one, I doubt the people pricing at DraftKings know that. And for two, I don't really care.
I completely agree. Love Arenado here. I mean, I love everything in this game. It's my number one and number two stacks on both sides. So I don't know what to tell anybody. Roster the whole damn game. It's the best offensive spot. Get different elsewhere.
Yep. And it's a 14-game slate, so chalk is just lower owned anyway.
Yeah. Unless they're stupid priced, like Story's 30% on DraftKings, but of course. But like I don't get the sense that it'll be over the field on Trevor Story, but like I'm in if David Dahl is in single digits and Daniel Murphy's in single digits because people think that you can't roster lefties against lefties, as if Wade Miley's going to be in there throwing a 9-inning complete game. Get it all. Whole damn game. Favorite bat in the entire game?
Story.
Okay.
And then Arenado.
Yeah, it's Story as well.
It sucks that Bregman's the same position as Story Arenado.
It really does. Yeah, there's literally no way to like game stack with the three of them.
You can on FanDuel.
I meant on DK.
Yeah, DK or Yahoo you can.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving, I guess. Play everybody. That's the method every day. Right. Another perfect time to hit that like button. Coming up later today, we'll get the plugs in quick. We'll have the deeper dive coming at 4:45 p.m. Eastern. It's a 3-man band right before the 4th of July. Adam will be back, Laffy, and the boss man, Alex Baker. We'll have Live Before Lock tonight, myself and Chris Spags taking you up until 7. And then tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, Live Before Lock PGA edition. Ben Rasa and Jason Roslin talking 3M Open. Ask me how much Dustin Johnson I had last week.
You had a ton, right?
I did have a ton. 80-something%. Ask me how many 6 of 6s I got through in 150 max mini-max.
How many?
That would be 0. 0.
Solid.
Awful beating. I went very, very stars and scrubs, and those stars were scrubs. Royals and Indians, 3.8 unimplied total for the Royals, 4.8 for the Indians. Oh, Jake said he got 10% of his entry fees back, so kudos to us. We can't all win 20 G's like Randone. You got the rose for that one. Danny Duffy going for the Royals. Mike Clevenger going for the Indians. Danny Duffy, 14% ownership on Yahoo, 15% on DK, mid-priced-ish. Let's start on Duffy. Is this a spot that you want Danny Duffy?
Want wouldn't be the word that I use.
Right.
Possibly get to because he's not any worse than a lot of other pitchers on the slate. Sure. I really just doubt that I get to a whole lot of this range. I think I just get a lot of like Sale plus Pruitt.
I agree. Or Walker Buehler plus Pruitt, or even Clevenger plus Pruitt. Whatever I need to do. I think we're teetering on the edge of like a really uncomfortable amount of Austin Pruitt tonight.
No, I'm absolutely.
Yeah. I'm really excited for you to send me that graphic tonight. That'd be great. It's either 94% Austin Pruitt, or you send it to me and you're like, this isn't what I expected. And
Yeah,
it's 67% Julie Chassin and somebody else. And
right.
it's just like, okay, here we go. Buckle up.
Yeah, pretty sure it's more likely to be that first one.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm not going to have Danny Duffy in the double digits for sure.
Cleveland has, I think, the lowest strikeout percentage. Sorry, fourth lowest strikeout percentage against left-handed pitching this year, 19.1%.
That doesn't help. It's not like Danny Duffy's out there mowing them down. All right, so we need to talk about the real one here. And the public is reacting to his most recent start. 7% on Yahoo, 7% on FanDuel, 14% on DraftKings. Is Mike Clevenger going to ruin your day?
I doubt that I get a ton of him. It has nothing to do. I'm not overly concerned with that. Obviously it was terrible his first start back from the injured list, but he was averaging 96.6 miles an hour on his fastball, so his velocity was clearly fine. The thing for me is more just that, Chris Sale's on the slate. You are getting, a 2K discount, which is nice. So I could certainly see getting the Clevenger. I have him projected a little bit higher than Sonny Gray, but I just don't have him projected high enough where I think I get to a lot of him at 9,700. Kansas City's not the most favorable strikeout matchup.
Right.
They are the seventh lowest strikeout percentage against. Sorry, I have that sort of wrong, but they have a 21.2% strikeout percentage against right-handed pitching. They're league average in terms of production. They just got Adalberto Mondesi back, which makes their lineup more difficult. It's kind of like an average spot for a good pitcher who maybe has some question marks about him, but it's just a slate where I think I get a lot.
I think it's a slate where I do get a lot. Do you prefer him or Walker Buehler?
Bueller.
Okay. I didn't know if the salary would make a difference for you.
Right now I have Clevenger, and this obviously is subject to change as the day goes on, but right now I have Clevenger at about 18 DraftKings points. I have Bueller at 22.5.
Okay.
I assume $1,200 is fine.
Okay. I have 21-1 for Bueller and 19-6 for Clevenger.
Yeah, so your gap is a lot closer.
Yeah. I mean, this is, to me, I'm going to have it shake out just like Blake Snell did a couple days ago. I don't have any. What?
No, go ahead.
I'm going to treat Clevenger like Blake Snell from a couple days ago. I don't have anything to look at that tells me I shouldn't roster him because he's hurt, other than the fact that he just got shellacked. And if that's the case, then I need to play Mike Clevenger because I have him as equal dollar for dollar to Walker Buehler and only behind Chris Sale today. And if that's the case, I'm just going to get a ton of him. And I'm probably going to sink with the ship if it goes bad.
That's the correct approach. When you said you were treating him like Snell, I thought you meant like Snell on that slate where he was just like the number one pitcher by far.
No, if Clevenger was 7,700 or whatever stupid Snell's price was, we're having a very different discussion. I just meant like I have to ignore the injury.
Right, yeah, I'm with you there. Especially it wasn't an arm injury, it was an ankle injury, which,
right.
Obviously could affect, I don't know which ankle it was, but could affect him landing or pushing off or whatever. But
yeah, I mean, if it's his plant foot, that could lead you to not plant clean and leave a lot of shit up, and then you give up 9 hits.
Also, the Indians know that he just had a terrible start. If he was hurt, they're probably not going to risk him going right back to the injured list for the third time.
Yeah.
It's more likely than not that he just had a bad start and we're moving on. So I'm not knocking Clevenger for anything. If I'm kind of actually hoping that he ends up being projected a little bit higher for me as the day goes on, because I do love Clevenger and I love his stuff. But yeah, I'm not knocking him. Whatever my projection ends up with, whatever Clevenger I get, I'm not like cutting Clevenger shares or anything like that.
Like if you saw 35, you'd be like, okay.
Yeah, playing 35% Clevenger.
Yeah. That's how I feel. I want and hope that the number is high. I'll be nervous about it just because that last start just doesn't make you feel better going into the next one. But if he's at 14% ownership, like I'm willing to die on that hill because he could be the highest scoring pitcher here.
Sure.
Royals bats not getting any ownership. Indians bats not really getting any ownership. I don't have too much interest here. Like I'll always roster Lindor. I'll always have some interest in Jose Ramirez, even though I shouldn't. I don't know. It's not a really nice stackable game to me.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of interest in either side.
I mean, I guess I want a little bit of Indians if Duffy's 15%. That probably pulls them up a tad. Lindor at 8%, Jose Ramirez at 5%, everybody else is at 1 or 2. I'd like to get a couple full stacks of the Indians if Duffy's going to be in 15% of lineups. That's it. It's a play on that ownership. If Duffy's ownership drops to 6, then I don't have the Indians. Alrighty, time to get to my second favorite, third, fourth. I don't know. My favorite pitcher in the mid range. 4.5 run implied total for the A's, 5 for the Twins, 55% chance to win for Minnesota. Tanner Anderson, not to be confused with Tyler Alexander, which I confused the shit out of myself for the first 15 minutes of the day. Kyle Gibson going for the Twins. No ownership going to Tanner Anderson. Gibson 14% on Yahoo, 14% on FanDuel, 4% on DK. Look, he's 9K on DraftKings. That is not a spot where I'm interested in Kyle Gibson. 7,100 on FanDuel. I'm kind of bummed that he got to 14%. He's the third most owned pitcher on FanDuel right now, but I kind of like him here. It's a nice park for him. The strikeout rates on the A's pretty high. I think this can go pretty well for Kyle Gibson.
Yeah, I think the FanDuel price tag is fine. He's a pitcher that I like. I don't like him as much as Sonny Gray, but 3.83 PCRA, 23.9% strikeout percentage. But if you break it down by lefties versus righties, he's at 26.6% against righties this year. He's throwing that slider 30% of the time, which honestly he should probably throw it like 60% of the time, but he doesn't. But that leads to the higher strikeout percentage against righties. Oakland as a team hasn't struck out a lot this year. They're only at about 21% against right-handed pitching, and they're league average as far as production goes. So not the most favorable spot there, but it is a good park for run prevention. It looks like it's supposed to be in the 60s. So it's one of the best parks as far as weather goes tonight for pitchers. So yeah, I'm fine with Gibson where he's inexpensive.
Yeah. Another reason I like Gibson on FanDuel, and this is very minor, this doesn't change projections all that much, but it's just a way to think about it. He's got a really nice chance to get a quality start. You would not be surprised if Kyle Gibson was able to go 6 innings today and give up less than 3 earned runs.
Sure, no question. Also, I'm seeing that Mike Fiers may be pitching for Oakland.
Okay.
I don't think a whole lot changes on that rostering him or Anderson.
Oh yeah, betting sites have Fiers now, and the total is 8.5, not 9.5. Yeah, I mean that's one. It's going to make me like Kyle Gibson more. I just shaved at least a half run off of everything else. Switch this to Fiers. Does it make you like the Twins at all?
Like Nelson Cruz, CJ Cron, like right-handed power here is fine. The issue that I have with getting to them is that you're seeking out hitters in Oakland on a 60 whatever degree night compared to Coors Field or Texas or Cincinnati or the Yankees or whoever else. It's just kind of a low probability spot. Not kind of, it is a low probability spot.
5.6. That'll work. All right, I've got Fiers in here now. Let me just update this so we have it. If we're gonna do it, we might as well do it right. Refresh. Bye, Tanner Anderson. It's nice knowing you. All right, Fiers in. So Fiers is 8K on DK. You can completely ignore him across all 3 sites. Twins are my 9th ranked stack. I'm going to get a lot of Twins today. Relative to the field, not in terms of volume. They're unowned. 3% to Marwin, 2% to CJ Cron. Everybody else is at 1. So guys like Nelson Cruz and Max Kepler, I'm just interested in if they're not owned.
Totally unrelated to this game. I just looked at weather for the first time, and the Sonny Gray game has pop-up storms all over the place. I can't wait to do this again.
Well, it went well yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a little bit of Twins if they're unowned, but nothing too crazy. They're my 9th ranked stack, and we have them around 20th in ownership. So that's just a spot where I'll pick up a couple points, but no volume. And I don't really have any interest in A's bats. What's happening to Chris Davis? Is he just absorbing other Chris Davis because they have the same name? He's 3,600 right now on DraftKings.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
What a bad luck name, man.
That's got to be the most prolific power hitting duo with the same name in baseball history, right?
Ken Griffey?
Different names.
They're both Ken Griffey. These names are more different than those names.
Junior and senior, though. Well, okay, yeah.
We gonna do this for real?
But no, I mean, was senior like a big time home run hitter?
I don't know. I'm just naming people that I think that could be the same. Technically speaking, is Mondesi Raul? He was for a hot minute in the minors.
Yeah, he was.
Vlad Guerrero and Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Oh yeah.
Are we throwing out the juniors now? Cal Ripken.
Guerrero will end up winning.
Maybe. I'm trying to think if there's any other. I mean, it's got to be people with like, generic names: Smith, Williams, right. Johnson, Davis. Are there any other Chris Davises? Come on, chat. This is perfect. Definitely not Emax, said Vlad and Vlad. What do you think? I can't think of anybody else.
Yeah.
I think coming up with Griffey's off the top of my head was pretty good.
Yeah, that was solid.
They did hit back-to-back home runs at one point.
Yeah, definitely knew that.
Oh, James Dixon just said the exact same thing too. Weird.
What, Griffey?
Okay. Cecil and Prince Fielder doesn't count.
Those are not the same name.
No. Also, no, not Biggio. No, not Bonds. You guys aren't getting it. Barry and Bobby are not the same word.
If there were like a Hank Aaron that played one game in the majors, that would win it. But
it really might. YouTube chat coming up empty on this one. Joe Morgan.
What?
I don't even know. He wasn't even a power hitter.
I didn't even know there were two of them.
Neither did I. I mean, I'm sure there was a different Joe Morgan, but okay. Earl Fountain. No, not Bobby and Barry Bonds. Chris and Chris are the same. They just spell them differently. It's not like Bobby sounds like Barry, but they did it different. That's not how this works. My name is. I spell it Bobby. Pronounced Barry. That's not how this goes. Okay, so Cantor 33. At least you're in the ballpark here. Willie Mays and Willie Mays Hayes.
All right, there we go. I get the movie reference too, so that's a bonus.
That's perfect. All right, let's keep this moving. 3 games to go. Padres and Giants. 4.6 run implied total for the Pods. 4 for the Giants. 57% chance to win for San Diego. Cal Quantrill going for the Pods. Sean Anderson going for the Giants. Cal Quantrill's at 17% ownership, so I'm really anxious to see where our ownership goes for the rest of the day for some of these scrubs. Sean Anderson is at 3%, though. Do you want any of my boy, Sean Anderson?
I think he's a little too expensive. If he was like 5K or 5,500, I would throw him in there for the same reasons that I'm probably going to get to Cal Quantrill. It's just that I don't need every single cheap pitcher to be Austin Pruitt.
I completely agree. And Quantrill's not going deep into this game, right? Like, he is extra not stretched out? Or did I look at it wrong?
Probably looked at it wrong. But
thanks, man.
I don't know. I haven't looked at all.
Cal Quantrill and Paul Quantrill? How'd I do? Okay, now we're getting Isaiah Thomas, so now we're switching sports. This is going real well. So, Quantrill on 4 days ago threw 1 inning and faced 3 batters. 2 days before that, he faced 8 batters in 2 innings. I mean, he is like literally not going deep in this game.
Yeah, never mind. I just thought he had been sent back to AAA. I didn't realize that he was pitching out of the bullpen.
Yeah. You can't roster him for 17% of your ownership if he's not If he's literally not going deep in this game, and there are other guys that are cheaper and are doing that.
He could go relatively deep in this game, though. He threw 93 pitches on June 14th. Like, he's been a starter most of the year.
I guess, but he hasn't been a starter for most of the last week and a half. I can't see them ramping him up to go 6. What's the realistic ceiling in his innings? 4?
6?
6.
Ceiling?
Realistic ceiling. What is the number where you would look at it and be like, oh wow, he got to?
Why can't he throw like 80, 85 pitches here?
I mean, he can if they want to treat him like this is Japanese baseball and he can go out there and throw 190 pitches today. I'm not saying that he physically can't, but like, what sign is there other than the fact that at the beginning of June he could throw 5 innings and now he just doesn't?
He's starting. Like, it's not that he doesn't. He became a reliever. It's not like they were like, you're throwing too many pitches. He was in a completely different role. Now he's back to that role where he throws 90 pitches.
But he wasn't in that role earlier this week. I feel like it's not like a switch you just flip on and off.
I mean, we're talking about like 2 weeks. And he throws bullpens. Like, I'm not saying he's going to throw 90. I don't think it's like unrealistic at all.
I would think that it would be a shock for him to start the 4th inning.
What, to start the 4th inning?
Yes.
Yeah, my best guess would be like 4.5, 5 innings.
Wow. Well, that's how you get him to 17% ownership then. It would, I mean, all right, let's set the median. What's the average amount of innings you expect here?
4.5, 5 innings.
Okay. So yeah, we're on very different wavelengths. I don't think he goes that deep, barring a very efficient start. Like, I would say the chances of him going more than 3 innings are like, I don't know, 15%.
I would say the most likely outcome is like 70, 75 pitches, and that there's a chance he throws more.
How's the Padres bullpen look right now? Because they have been getting bludgeoned by the Giants, so they have been running out additional dudes from time to time. All right, they used 2 guys in the bullpen yesterday. They've got basically everybody but Robert Stock available for today. I don't see him. I don't see him pitching in the 4th inning, unless it's going really, really well from an efficiency standpoint. It would very much surprise me. I won't play a single share of him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just the starting pitcher.
Yeah. You want any Sean Anderson?
No.
Okay. I'd rather have Pruitt and stuff too. So. Wow, these guys are still doing it. Yogi and Boo Boo, Beavis and Butthead. You guys are the worst. Braun and Bronny. Oh my god. Leave it to YouTube chat. Alomar, Sandy, and Roberto. No one gets this.
Don't forget the Alou brothers.
Yeah. Those guys used to pee on their hands before they went up to hit.
They did.
Weird, man. Just buy batting gloves. So much easier. They're super cheap. Got to be much better things to do. Do you have any interest in bats in this game? Or do the Giants just lead the slate in fantasy points again?
Yeah, I mean, probably. The Giants are cheap. They're facing a mediocre pitcher. I hope to God I don't get a lot. If I had to go to an offense, I'd go to the Padres just because they actually have power.
I would too, but I don't want to go to either offense.
Yeah, no, me neither. And I think Sean Anderson's pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't really want anything in this entire game. Lead off Brandon Belt is fun.
Yeah, I like Brandon Belt. He's just a good hitter. And I still think that Franmil Reyes being in the low 4K price range is absurd. And I'm fine with getting to as much of him as I can.
Same. Hunter Renfroe 3K on FanDuel is appealing too.
Yep.
Since he only hits dongs. All right, 2 to go. Let's hustle. Not much interesting here after we talk about the Dodgers. Dodgers and Diamondbacks. 5.2 run implied total for the D-backs. 3.3. 5.2 for the Dodgers. 3.3 for the Diamondbacks. 69% chance to win for LA.
Nice.
Walker Buehler going for the Dodgers. Merrill Kelly going for Arizona. Buehler 28% owned on Yahoo, 15 on FanDuel, 22 on DK. I have him essentially as my 2A and 2B in pitching. I have a hard time picking between him and Clevenger. Higher ceiling for Buehler, slightly higher price. I'd like to get a lot of Buehler here. It's not a great strikeout matchup. The lefty power in a way scares me between Marte, Peralta, Escobar, and Jake Lamb if they're in the order. But ultimately, I'm willing to bet on Walker Buehler.
Yeah, not a great strikeout matchup, but just a really good pitcher on a slate that doesn't have a lot of good pitching. 13th or 12th best PCRA at 2.98. That puts him, in the same category with guys like Boyd, Ryu, Montas, Strasburg. 27.2% strikeout percentage, only a 3.7% walk percentage. The high K minus PV percentage makes me think that I'll probably get to a pretty decent amount of Buehler. He's not allowing a lot of barreled balls either, 6.1% barrel ball per batted ball event. So all that stuff looks really good for him. We know that he's just, a good pitcher. It's an okay spot. I definitely prefer Chris Sale, but where I can't quite get the Sale, I have no issues getting to Buehler.
I feel the exact same way. 2 things to note. Chandler Parsons to the Hawks.
Who cares?
For Solomon Hill and Miles Plumlee. Bet you didn't think I could make that trade worse.
Those are some very highly paid, non-consequential people moving teams.
Yes, they are. And looks like Samson figured out that Roto Grinders has FanDuel results now, so that's going to go well for the rest of the day.
Good.
Do you have any interest in Merrill Kelly? Unowned.
No. He's not a high strikeout guy. He's facing the Dodgers. I have tons of respect for Dodgers hitters, obviously. Not interested in pitching or pitcher.
YouTube chat is still going on this right now. Clinton Scott Eastwood, Mark Leiter and Mark Leiter Jr., Tug McGraw and Tim McGraw, Austin Riley and Wade Miley, Tony Montana and Joe Montana, Cockroach, Ron Gant and John Gant. Who does, guys? We're also John Belushi and Jim Belushi. You guys you're off the reservation at this point. I'm very surprised that the Dodgers don't rank better for me right now. I am expecting you to tell me that you really like the Dodgers.
I do, but I don't know how much I'll get to, just kind of for the same reason as that Oakland game. Obviously I like the Dodgers more than the bats in the Oakland game, but it's like a 70, 75 degree night in LA compared to it being hot and humid in almost every other game on the slate.
Yeah, I thought that I would get a ton, and it's just not happening. Lefty power in LA is great. Righty Merrill Kelly, who's nothing special. This might have to be a spot where I have to try to force it in.
Yeah, I'm very happy if I do get to the Dodgers. And I think their price tags are appealing. If the weather were a little bit better, I'd be more interested. It's just, I like the Coors teams better. The Yankees are certainly in the same category. You have the Braves game in great hitting weather.
Yeah.
You have the Reds game in great hitting weather and a great hitter.
Angels, Rangers.
Yeah, that game too. I mean, it's
Red Sox.
There's 28 offenses on the slate. I love how talented the Dodgers are. I'm more than happy to get to them. I just don't know how much I'll get because there's so many other spots to go to.
Yeah, that's where I think I'm in the same spot right now. Do you have any interest in any of the Diamondbacks bats going back against Buehler if he's getting ownership?
Nope.
Okay. That's the part that's sneaky to me, and I don't know what to do with it. Getting to some sort of Jake Lamb, David Peralta, Eduardo Escobar 3-man combination has a little bit of appeal to me.
I don't care that much about ownership on this slate or on 14 game slates either. So,
what do you mean?
The difference between a highly owned hitter and a not highly owned hitter isn't that big on a 14 game slate.
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah. So, and getting the lower owned stack isn't as high. And same goes with, leveraging against guys. Like Bueller might be a popular pitcher, but he's not going to be 40% owned like he would be if it were a 5-game slate.
Right.
So making a suboptimal play and getting the Diamondbacks bats is less appealing to me than it would be if it were a 5-game slate.
That makes sense to me. Closing it out, Mariners and Cards. 4.4 run implied total for the Mariners, 4.7 for the Cards, 53% chance to win for St. Louis. Mike Leake going for the Mariners, Adam Wainwright going for the Cards. Leake is at 11% ownership on DK, Wainwright 9 on Yahoo, but nothing crazy here. Plan on rostering either one of these pitchers?
This is a sneaky offensive game, I think.
For one of these teams.
What'd you say?
For one of these teams.
I think for both.
Well,
I think they both.
So the answer to, is this a good pitching matchup for you? The answer then no?
It is no.
Okay. Well, talk to me about the Mariners because I like the Cardinals.
Wainwright has been really, really good against right-handed hitters this year, and that has not carried over to lefties. He's only struck out 17% of lefties. He's allowed a 4.12 WOBA and a 2.64 to ISO to lefties. This game, again, it's not favorable hitting weather. It's not a great hitter's park, so that knocks everything down, obviously. But aside from that, J.P. Crawford's looking like a pretty decent hitter. We know Dan Vogelbach's got monster power. Narvaez is an above-average hitter, and he's a catcher that shouldn't have ownership. Seager is inexpensive. 5 of the top 6 hitters in the Mariners lineup are likely to be left-handed, and the one righty is Domingo Santana, who has plenty of power. So, it's not like it's the highest probability stack, but I do think that they set up nicely against Wainwright in that they just have a ton of lefties that are pretty decent hitters.
They'd look really good if Encarnacion and Jay Bruce were still in this lineup and Mitch Haniger was healthy.
Yeah, I would love Jay Bruce if he was facing Wainwright.
For real. Cardinals right now, number 5 in ownership on DraftKings, 7th on FanDuel. I have them significantly lower than that, but I understand why they're getting some of that love. I like the top of the order. They stack really well. They're incredibly cheap on DraftKings. They seem to be a really nice filler stack.
Yep, just way too cheap for me. And they're facing a pitcher in Leake who gives up a lot of home runs. You mentioned when we talked about Chacin, pitchers that just have the kind of stuff where once they drop off, they're going to be really bad. That's how I've always felt about Leake, where it's a guy that just has to have pinpoint command, and otherwise he's going to get lit up. This season, basically just getting lit up. 258 ISO to righties, 212 to lefties. Really favorable price tags on the Cardinals. You look at Tyler O'Neill, who has massive strikeout issues, but also a ton of power, facing Leake, who doesn't strike guys out. 14.8% strikeout percentage against righties. That plays to Tyler O'Neill's strengths. Paul Goldschmidt's free. Paul DeJong is good and free. Jose Martinez has massive power. Tommy Edman may be leading off at a really cheap price tag. There's a good chance that the Cardinals do end up over-owned just because of, optimizers and because they're going to be great point per dollar options.
Yeah.
But I still think that there is power upside here as well, so it makes me like them.
Most expensive hitter on Yahoo on the Cardinals. Off the top of your head, go.
Who I think it is?
Yeah.
Who should it be? DeJong?
Okay. What do you think that price is?
12?
He's $11. Colton Wong is 10. Everybody else is 9 or below. No problem getting to the Cardinals on Yahoo today.
Yeah, I mean, can you do like Sale plus Clevenger or something?
Probably. We can check it out.
I mean, Sale Clevenger gives you an average of 35.62 on DraftKings, so you can.
Yeah.
Because that's like the Cardinals' average price point.
Right. Quote from Zach Lowe on that trade. Immediately in the running for most depressing trade of the summer. All 3 players on expiring deals, total salary almost an exact wash. Amazing. Yeah, ultimately, I don't get the sense that I'm going to have a lot from this game. I'm massively under on the Cardinals. I think they're getting pushed up because they are the pro optimizer play instead of the anti-optimizer play. I think it's just going to be easier to be going in a different direction.
Sure.
And we are done. 14 up, 14 down, a little bit of a split in the middle. I'll stitch that together for the podcast feed. Hit the like button on your way out the door. Subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications if something goes wrong. I wanted to roll this back, though. Andrew Mock said, fusion players. Names merged together. Rugnid Odorizzi. I'm a fan. I wish that would have picked up more here. We're still going. These guys are still going. Pete and Jalen Rose, Stephen A. Smith and J.R. Smith, Joe and Katy Perry, Grant Hill and Lauren Hill, Wayne Brady, Tom Brady, Jim Tomei and David Bowie. Now we're not even trying. Hank Hill, Bobby Hill. Ship my money and ship my modem. All right. Well, you guys beat that joke into the ground, so kudos to you. I mentioned before, deeper dive at 4:45, 3-man band for the last time this week. Myself and Spags will be live before lock. PGA live before lock with Jason Roslin and Ben Rasa. It's going to be a good day. Final day before the 4th of July. We'll have a strategy show tomorrow for the 4th, but we won't do any shows after that. Everybody's just going to go out and enjoy themselves for the 4th of July. Anything else from you?
Nope.
There it is. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're out of here. Later.